Lack of preparation. People fail to do certain research about that specific company, specific job. The more you find, the better, because when you come prepared, everybody who talks to you can see that. So you can learn about competition, you can learn about sales numbers, you can learn about products to come. That is one thing, not doing the research. Second one is, there are certain questions which you should expect, which you have to prepare how you're going to answer them. So not being ready to answer standard questions like what is your biggest weakness, or why should we hire you? Tell me about yourself. Why did you leave your last job? That kind of unpreparedness is also hurting you. Sloppy paperwork is showing another kind of dimension of lack of preparation. Letters, resumes, forms which you fill out. So any piece of paper, any document, emails which you exchange with a recruiter or human resources people or manager, each piece of documentation, if it is sloppy, it hurts you. Not sounding naturally. Dishonesty and lying, which might pop up at the time of interview. So you say you know something, and then conversation goes that way, and they find out you don't know that. There is nothing good in that. And if you don't know something, admit you don't know that. You would rather show how would you handle the situation in which you have to learn something. So your ability to resolve situation like that is much more important than saying I know that, and then finally you don't know that, which hurts you a lot. Using prepared speech. Sometimes people say, okay, that is the question, that is the answer. They write it down and they memorize that, same as a piece of poetry. And then when they start talking, and if the speech is a prepared speech, guys, everybody can see that. They hear that in your speech. And nobody likes that. Another thing, you might use classic book answers to the classic book questions. It shows that you, instead of really preparing how you answer that question, you just read suggestions from the book, and just that is the level of preparation, that is the level of depth. And many companies, many interviewers will not like that. Then there are tricky, sleazy kind of things. They ask you, what is your greatest weakness? And you start pretending that weakness is actually your strength, and the internet and books so is full of the examples how to kind of turn weakness into strength. We are talking about honesty, we are talking about integrity, we are talking about things which are far away from sleazy, tricky kind of answers, so don't do that. Being self-centered is another problem when it comes to interviewing. Some people manage to systematically interrupt the interviewer. Why? They are self-centric, they want to talk. They are important, okay, to themselves, and they are interrupting. Or they might be asking too many questions. Guys, it is good to answer questions, don't get me wrong. Asking too many questions, going beyond certain kind of border is too much. Not answering questions asked. So you come, you have your own agenda, you have your own things you want to tell them, you want them to understand about you, and they ask you the question, and you know what? They really want the answer to their question. With all the respect to what you want to say, they still want to get the answer to their question. Listen to the question, and you remember, it's 29% of people who do not provide answer to the question. Being arrogant, over-aggressive, know-it-all attitude is another problem. Asking for more money than that job is worth on the job market is another kind of showstopper. Rambling, talking more than you listen is a problem. The important thing is make sure it is not just you talking and talking and talking. So listening is very important. Your stories should be relatively short, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, strictly to the point, relevant to the position. That is the story, and you have to prepare the story. Some people do not show appreciation to the interviewer at the end of the interview. Again, you are self-centric. You're saying, well, It's about me, it's not about them. Someone talk to you, could be 45 minutes, it could be 60 minutes. Show them appreciation for the time they spent talking to you. Being overly familiar also hurts lots of people. Some interviewers are extremely experienced in kind of making you to feel comfortable. It doesn't mean they are your uncles or your best friends. Okay, you have to understand the distance between you and them. Don't become over familiar with these people. Behavioral problems. Major behavioral problems come to getting emotional, or let's say over emotional. We are humans, we are emotional. We are supposed to be emotional. We just have to be appropriate to the situation. Interview is not the place where you show too much of emotions. Being desperate for the job, being too needy is a problem. Discourtesy, not being nice, being rude, bragging, all that is hurting you. Inappropriate humor, jokes, sarcasm, funny comments, it is not exactly something which fits into the interview. What is funny to one person might easily be offensive to another individual. Exclude that, or let's say be very careful with that. It is not the place where you can joke much or be sarcastic. Another issue we cover today is lack of confidence, which might manifest in different ways. You come, you have no happy face. Make one when you talk, make one when you listen. Another point here is some people limit themselves just to yes or no or don't know answers to the questions. Make your answers more complete. Not asking to clarify the question is a problem. There is no big issue in asking to repeat that question or kind of rephrase the question if you are not really sure what the question is about. It is much worse if you start answering that question without clear understanding of what was asked. That is a problem. Not participating in the interview process as an equal, behavior like you are subordinate to that person is another problem. You have to talk from the position of strength. You are professional, you look for a job, you are not needy, you are not desperate, you know the value you bring to that company. You cannot be feeling like you are subordinate. If everything is fine with you, it is not how you should feel. Extreme nervousness. Obviously, to many people, interview is a stressful situation. Yes, there is a stress involved. And there are thousands of books how to deal with stress. But if you are not smiling, if nervousness is on your face, it becomes a problem. So nonverbal communication, it plays huge, very important role in human communication. Handshake, it shouldn't be light, delicate on one hand, and it shouldn't be too powerful, over the top, controlling handshake. Make it firm, full-handed, with both male and female, firm, full-handed. Avoiding eye contact is another problem which relates to nonverbal communication. And then appearance. There are many different ways to have a problem with appearance. So not properly dressed. And it's easy because interview to get there should be scheduled. So ask that person who schedules that interview for you, what is the dress code? And they will give you very clear answer. So just be properly dressed. Not being well groomed and looking sharp. No heavy cologne or perfume, and posture and body language. Some postures and some body language are kind of negative, and they are saying bad things about you to the interviewer. Talking on the cell phone at the time of interview is not good. Chewing gum, smoking at the time of interview or right before the interview. Some people manage to scratch their body parts. And just be careful, wash yourself. Thank you for listening, and just look at the www.portnov.com website, which might be your next career solution.